Hey there, everyone. It is Thursday. And the reason that I point that out is because for those of you who watch these live or are looking for them live in my Facebook group, you know that I barely consistently post these videos on Wednesdays and Fridays. That is my usual schedule, and I am nothing if not consistent. And I love having that structure and that accountability to Wednesdays and Fridays. This is when I post these videos to the Facebook group. So you may be wondering, well, why are you posting it on a Thursday? Something must have happened. Well, yeah, life did happen. Long story short, over the past couple of days, I needed to go in for a series of emergency doctor's appointments for my eye. I was seeing, I think this was on Tuesday now. This whole week is a bit of a blur for me. On Tuesday afternoon, I started seeing some flashes of light in my right eye, and also an increased presence of floaters. So just basically these little floaty things that were floating around in my eye. So that's never a good sign. And because I had cataract surgery when I was young, which puts me at an increased risk for retinal detachment, which can lead to blindness if not operated on very almost immediately. I needed to go into the doctor. And so it was this moment of fear, but also this moment of, okay, I'm going to go. I called the doctor's office and I was like, I'm coming in. Thankfully, I am so thankful to live in a city, which means one of the things that, like, my doctor's office is right down the street. So I called them and I said, I'm coming in. And then the receptionist was like, okay, we'll do what we can. Cause they're always busy. That's one of the other things when you live in a city, like it's always busy. It's always usually hard to get doctor's appointments, especially at a last minute notice like that. But I'm like, I'm coming in. This is a true emergency. And so I went in after being the squeaky wheel a little bit, like, look, cause I know it's not an emergency room, but like the eye doctors that I go to, like, they have the equipment there, at least most of it, to be able to at least assess what's going on and then see if I need to go to the emergency room. So after about an hour of waiting, sitting in this combination of sheer terror that I was going to go blind in my right eye because of the flashes that I was seeing and because of the floaters, but everybody assuring me it's okay, a doctor's going to see you soon. The doctor finally saw me, looked at what he can look at, and basically said, yeah, you need to go to the emergency room. So again, live in a city, so all I needed to do was walk down the street, go on the T, go to the emergency room, Mass Eye and Ear. So for those of you who are familiar with Boston, that red line stop, that's Charles MGH, Mass Eye and Ear. That's what it is. It's one of the best it's one of the best eye and ear facilities in the country. So it's like, great, awesome, I have that. So went to the ER. ER waits are never fun. I was there for like 5 hours. The doctor was able to look at it finally and said, it's probably fine. And that's not something that you want to hear when it's like an emergency kind of a situation. I think I'm almost 100% certain. Like, I want 100% certainty here. Like, I'm almost 100% certain your retina is not detaching. It's basically just what's called the vitreous in your eye that is just kind of, it's supposed to be gel, but as you get older, it can liquefy, and that's what can cause flashes. But I want to be absolutely certain here. I'm like, yeah, me too. So come back tomorrow. I'm like, oh God. So come back tomorrow. And actually what was kind of cool was then the next day, and this was yesterday, which was the reason why I couldn't come and do a live yesterday, was because I went in and did, which they only do during regular office hours, it's an ultrasound of your eye, which is really cool, actually. So it's like, when you're pregnant, you can get an ultrasound of your belly and you see the baby inside. It's the same kind of thing. It's like a tiny little thing, and they're basically they put all the gel all over your eye, which is kind of goopy and icky, and they basically do an ultrasound of your eye. Did that, went back to wait to see the doctor, another 2 hours to see the doctor, and they said, okay, your retina's fine. It's kind of cool. Got to see a picture of the inside of my eye and my healthy retina, and also confirmed that yes, the floaters and the flashes were due to the vitreous just basically not being gel anymore. But of course, follow-ups and blah, blah, blah. Of course, like keep an eye on it and all of that. So I had a fun last 2 days, mostly waiting, but also scared. in certain moments, just basically having to tell like the receptionist, like, look, I'm not thinking straight right now. Please tell me what to do. Do I need to go to the ER? And kudos to them, credit to them. And they said, no, just wait, you'll see the doctor, I promise, in a matter of time. So actually, and I had planned on talking about fear. I had planned on talking about being brave today anyway. I planned this stuff a week in advance. And so lo and behold, I had an experience over the last couple of days that really did test my strength and my bravery and my ability to look fear in the eye and say, I'm still going to go on with my life, right? I'm going to do what's necessary no matter what this is. Like worst case scenario, I need to have surgery and I'll do that, and that's fine. But it is scary, especially when the doctors are telling you, we're not sure, we need to do another test. We're not sure, we need to do another test. But that's the theme of today. Is it's bravery, it's courage, it's fear. Are you brave enough to live the life of your dreams? Are you brave enough to look fear in the eye and say, I'm not going to let you take over? To give a Game of Thrones reference, what do we say to the god of death? Not today. So it really does take a sense of bravery, a sense of courage to not let fear just really completely debilitate you. And so if you want to live that dream life and command a 200, 300K plus salary as a technical manager, it means being brave, being courageous. And to use one of my favorite Game of Thrones quotes, and I promise there are no spoilers here. This is way back from season 1. Bran asked his dad, Ned, Bran said, can a man still be brave if he's afraid? And Ned, his father, replied, that is the only time a man can be brave. The only time when we can be brave is when we're afraid. I'm going to give you a moment to let that sink in. Because I know that we all have times in our life when we were really, really afraid. Think of those moments right now. The moments when you were more fearful than you ever were. And maybe it was just a brief moment. Like I can think of a time when we were driving on the highway one time. It was winter, driving up to Vermont to go skiing. We were driving up and it was snowing out though, so the roads were pretty bad. But my husband, Rob, he was my boyfriend at the time, but he became my husband. Wonderful driver. And so it was like, it's fine, we're good. We were going slow and it was okay. And there wasn't a lot of traffic, but there was a moment where it was slippery and we were on the highway and there was the guardrail and we were in the left lane. And the car spun out and we were heading toward the guardrail. And it was one of these cases where it was like a drop off after the guardrail. And so we were heading toward the guardrail. And I still remember that moment, even though it was, gosh, like 15, 20 years ago now, where it was like, oh shit, we're going to die. Like going toward that guardrail. And so I couldn't do anything in that moment, but actually kudos to Rob in that moment that like, I know he was scared out of his mind at that moment. He was able to, turn the car so that we didn't crash into the guardrail. And so sometimes it's those moments where like your heart skips a beat and that's fear, right? And when you're able to get past that and really say, okay, I'm going to do whatever's necessary here. I'm not going to I'm not going to like just completely, be debilitated by it. I'm not going to let it take me over. Sometimes it's bigger moments, like 2 days where doctors keep telling you, I don't know if you're going to need surgery. Don't eat anything. That's another thing the doctors kept telling me, don't eat anything just in case. So I basically had like not a complete 2-day fast, but I didn't really eat much over the last 2 days because every doctor I spoke to 3 different doctors over the last few days, and they were like, oh, by the way, don't eat anything unless you have to go in for surgery. And then finally, yesterday, after I saw the 3rd doctor. He was like, yeah, your retina is fine. You're not going to need surgery. And right there, I was like, oh, it wasn't like, oh, phew, I don't need surgery. It was, oh my God, can I eat now? I have a protein bar in my bag. Can I have it? He's like, oh yes, yes, that's fine. Yeah, please go have something to eat. So I'm eating the protein bar while he's explaining to me what next steps are and follow-ups and everything like that. And so it was basically this 2 days where, I had looked fear in the eye. And sometimes those are those moments. But if you think of those moments in your life that you were afraid, the only way to get past that fear, the only way that you are able to do that and move forward, the only reason that you're here right now and got past those moments of fear is that you were brave. We have all accessed courage. We all have the ability to access courage. And we've all done it in the past. We just don't give ourselves enough credit for it. And so, talking of moments of, almost getting killed in a car accident or, almost needing to have surgery, possibly going blind, like those are big moments, right? And if we can get through those, absolutely we can get through, like the conversations that we often avoid at work, but that are still scary in their own right. So conversations like, essentially telling your boss, like, I know that I deserve a 35% raise. Can you help me get that? Can you help me earn that raise? Let's work together to do it. It's really as simple as that, but so many people avoid it because you know what that means, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to need to not only tell my boss, I'm ready for this, boss. I'm going to do this and let's work together. And I'm asking you to vouch for me, right? You're putting yourself out there and you're asking your boss to vouch for you. Yeah, that can be scary. But guess what? You're brave. You have conquered way more than asking your boss to be your advocate to get you a 35% raise. You have conquered way more than, what's another example? I have some examples below. Fire an employee. There's another one. So many managers are afraid to fire subpar performers. And the stories that I hear again and again, when people talk about, yep, I had to fire this person. Those stories usually involve, I really wish I did it sooner. I put it off. I put it off because I didn't want to do the hard thing. I didn't want to do the scary thing and fire someone else. But we know in those moments what we're supposed to do, but because it's not life-threatening. Like if you're in a life-threatening moment, like me, like I knew what I needed. It didn't matter what the rest of my day was going to look like. The moment I knew that those flashes were not just me staring at a light for too much or whatever, it was like all hands on deck. I'm calling the doctor. I'm going. Because there's no other choice in that moment. When you're headed toward the guardrail, there's no other choice at that moment except do what you know to do to make the car avoid the guardrail. Those kind of life-threatening situations. We don't even blink, we just do it. But in those situations where it's not life-threatening, like it's not actually scary enough for like just the fight or flight to take over, right? It's like, oh man, should I fire this person? I don't know. And we go into analysis paralysis. Maybe we should extend the PIP, the performance improvement plan. This person has been on a PIP already for 6 months, for whatever, for a year. Maybe we should just extend it. Like, because you don't want to have the hard conversation and fire this person. When you know when a person is just ready to, needs to be let go because you've tried and you've tried and you've tried. Do it already. Or another example, this was from a client recently who was basically telling us about how there were particular strategies at work that he didn't believe were working. So he had kind of like the manager view of what was going on with these particular strategies and policies. And he saw the effects of them not working. And he was like, gosh, like I knew that this comes from the top. And then it's the CEO who decided that this is how this policy is going to work. It was basically a policy around performance reviews and how performance reviews work. And basically thought that it was completely wrong and basically thought we need to improve performance reviews, but they've been doing it for this way for so long. And he knew that the CEO wanted to do it, was doing it this way. It's like, it's time for you to have a talk with the CEO and tell him compassionately, but honestly, these strategies that we have around performance review are not working. And you can't just go into a CEO's office and say that. That's just complaining, right? One of the rules in our house is there's no complaining and there's no excuses. Do not come to me with what's wrong. Come to me with, here's what's wrong and here's what I'm going to do to fix it, right? So CEO talk 101, like do not just go, this is all messed up, this isn't working, right? Because as the CEO of my company, as a CEO of the People Stack, if one of my team members came to me with that, hey, Jen, the way that you're doing your marketing isn't working. I think we need to fix it. You know what my next question is going to be? Okay, how? Okay, we should fix it by this, that, and the other thing. All right, great. Go lead the effort to do it. So you got to be ready for that, right? If you're going to go in and say this isn't working and this is what we should do instead, you got to be willing to raise your hand and say, I'm going to fix it. And that can be scary. That can be hard. It requires accessing courage. So you have to be willing to look fear in the eye and say, I am not going to let you stop me. This is too important. The health and the ability for our team to thrive, our company culture, our reputation, our work lives are at stake here if I don't fire this person, if I don't have that hard conversation with the CEO, or my career is at stake. My happiness, my ability to support my family, my ability to not be like stressed out all the time. My career is at stake if I don't ask for a raise, if I don't leave this company and go on the job market. Too much is at stake here. Remind yourself what's at stake, because again, when it's not life-threatening situations, we often minimize it and we say, oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. And then it gets worse and worse and worse and worse, and we get numbed by the pain of it. And then it becomes, oh, wow, I'm only 5 years from retirement. What am I going to do now? Don't let that be you. We have calls with those people, and some of those people become our clients because they know that even though they're only maybe 5-ish years from retirement, they still have time from when they want to retire. They still have time to fix it. Is it going to be harder to fix it when you only have 5 years? Yeah, but don't let it get to that point. Don't let it get to that point. So it's really about taking that action that you know that is going to stretch the boundaries of your comfort zone. And so what a lot of people do is that they're not willing to go there, right? They don't want to have those uncomfortable conversations. They just want to have conversations about status updates. And they don't want to actually fix things. They don't want to raise their hand and say, this is what's wrong and I'm going to fix it. They just complain about what's not working. And they're just waiting for somebody else to do the hard thing. But that's not you, because you wouldn't be here if that was you. You wouldn't be listening to this video. You wouldn't be following me. You wouldn't be reading my emails. You wouldn't be in the Facebook group. Whatever it is that you're whatever people stack stuff that you're following, maybe you listen to the podcast too. You wouldn't be here right now listening to what I have to say about how to transform your career as a technical manager if you were not willing to be brave and do the hard thing. So if you are finally ready to take that next step to transform your career as a technical manager, to upgrade your career, whether it's leave that terrible job, go on the job market, get the next thing, move on, whether it's getting your boss to advocate for you to get that 20, 25, 35% raise because you know you deserve it. You also know that you're going to have to step up your game in order to do it. Absolutely. And you're ready to do it. Or maybe you already have negotiated a 20, 30, 35% raise or a promotion or something like that, and you're there now. Like maybe you recently got a promotion, say from manager to director, and you've been director for a month or two, something like that, and you're like, oh wow, I have a lot of promises I need to keep. I cannot screw this up. The way that I got this promotion was by telling my boss, by telling the CEO, by telling the senior leaders, I can do this. I am going to do this. You want me to be director? Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. I am ready to deliver. I am ready to deliver wins for the team. But you've been in it for the month and for a month or two or whatever, and you're like, oh wow, this is harder than I thought it would be. If any of these, whatever upgrading your career looks like for you, and you want expert help to figure out exactly what that step-by-step plan is to get you from where you are right now, point A, to Dreamville, to claiming that dream for career, point B, then book a call with our team. ThoughtPeopleStack.com/talk. So what we're going to do is we are going to talk about what's not working in your career right now. Right now, we're going to define point A. And that includes identifying the actions that you're avoiding taking because you're too scared. And we're also going to remind you that you've accessed fear in the past, or you've accessed bravery, you've accessed fear too, but you've accessed bravery, you've accessed courage in the past, and here's how you're going to do it now. So we're going to define point A, where you are right now, what's not working, what is working. We're also going to define point B, Dreamville, your dream career. We are going to dare you to dream. And we're going to map out a plan. How do you get from point A to point B? If you want our help to implement that plan, that's cool. But either way, this is going to be one of the most valuable, the most clarifying conversations that you've ever had about your career. For some people, it's the only conversation that they've ever had about their career, and that's fine. Because we don't talk about this stuff on a day-to-day basis. You know, how do we, like, the strategies around our career, we're not focused on that. We're focused on a day-to-day grind. So even if this is the first conversation that you've ever had about your career, awesome, it's going to be the most valuable. Even if you're on the other side of it and you've talked to other career coaches and you've hired resume writers, or you've hired people who might help you negotiate better, or maybe you've worked with life coaches or leadership coaches and they're just not helping, it's time to find someone who can. And one reason why a lot of people come to us is because we are 100% focused on folks who are in the tech world, in technical leadership, technical management positions. We know your world backwards and forwards, inside and out, way more than any other sort of generic career or life coaches would. We know what you're going through. So we can meet you where you are and help you translate what it is that you're going through right now into career transformation. So if that's what you want, if that's what you're looking for, book a call with our team right now. ThePeopleStack.com/talk. And again, the message of the day, the only time anyone can be brave is when they are afraid. Be afraid. That's life. And then access that bravery, access that courage, and watch what happens. Show yourself, show others what you are truly, truly capable of. That's it for today, and I will be back. I will be here tomorrow. Let me see what is on the docket. Give me 1 second. I gotta pull up my my content calendar here. Where are we? Okay, here we go. So there'll be back-to-back Thursday and Friday videos this week. So let me see what I have planned for Friday. It is, yes, so how to evangelize your excellence as a technical leader. Finally get rewarded for your efforts, even if you're an extreme introvert. So if you are an extreme introvert, someone who really gets your energy from being with yourself, being with your own thoughts. And so the idea of having to go out and network and the idea of having to self-promote, it's just not you. But you know that that's what's necessary in order to really get recognized in your career. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about self-promotion for introverts. So don't miss that. I'll be talking about that on Friday. That's it for now. Bye for now. Be brave, be strong. Yes, you'll see fear, but you're going to look it in the eye and say, I'm not going to let you take me over today. All right. Take care, everyone. Talk to you later.